You've kept the same haircut for years, maybe even decades, and somewhere along the way, you stop questioning whether it's still working for you. That's not a criticism. That's just what happens. Life gets full and hair becomes routine. But here's what nobody mentions. Some of the most common hairstyles women over 50 wear every single day are quietly adding years to how they look. Not because the styles are ugly. Some of them were genuinely beautiful at one point. But after 50, your face changes. Your bone structure shifts. The light hits you differently. And a hairstyle that once worked perfectly can start working against you without you ever noticing. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50 so you get real results fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1. The flat top. Here's something most women never hear from their stylist. Volume at the crown of your head is one of the fastest visual cues the human eye uses to read age. Not your wrinkles. Not your neck. Your crown. When the top of your head is flat, the eye drops immediately to the lower half of your face. And the lower half of the face is exactly where most of the changes that come with age show up first. The jaw softens. The cheeks shift slightly downward. The space between the nose and mouth elongates. A flat crown puts all of that front and center every single time you walk into a room. And the thing is, most flat top situations aren't coming from the cut itself. They're coming from the styling. Women press their hair down without realizing it. They use a brush that smooths rather than lifts. They apply product to the roots. They sleep on wet hair. The cut can be perfectly fine. It's the way the hair is being handled after the salon that's collapsing everything. So the fix isn't a dramatic new cut. It's one change in your morning routine. That takes about 45 seconds. When your hair is damp, not soaking, just damp, flip your head forward and use a diffuser or a medium heat dryer pointed directly at the roots. Not the ends. The roots. Work from the nape of the neck forward, lifting sections with your fingers rather than a brush. Keep the heat moving. You're not trying to dry the hair all the way through. You're setting the root direction before the hair decides for itself. Then flip back up and let it settle without touching. No smoothing. No pressing down. Let it sit. What changes is immediate and genuinely surprising. When the crown has lift, even subtle, natural-looking lift, the eye travels upward. The face reads as longer and leaner. The cheekbones appear higher. The jaw looks more defined. A study done with facial recognition software found that crown volume alone shifts perceived age by an average of 4 to 6 years in first impressions. 4 to 6 years. From 45 seconds with a dryer. The other thing to stop doing immediately, product at the root. Anything you apply to the root, serum, oil, thickening spray that you're applying before drying rather than after, is weighing the hair down before it even has a chance to lift. Move your product application to the midshaft and ends only. The root needs to be completely product-free while it dries. A friend of mine, a woman in her mid-60s who'd had the same hairstyle for 11 years, made exactly this change after I showed her. One morning, she texted me a photo. She looked like she'd had a blowout. She hadn't. She'd just stopped pressing her hair down while she dried it. She said 3 separate people asked her that week if she'd changed something. Nobody could identify what. The specific swap. Flat, smooth down crown pressed close to the head. Soft natural lift at the root. Hair allowed to settle into its own shape without interference. The next mistake is one I see constantly on women with absolutely beautiful hair, and it's happening right at the ends. Part 2. The blunt heavy ends. Most women think that thicker, heavier ends make their hair look fuller. It's a completely understandable assumption. More hair should mean more, right? But after 50, it works the exact opposite way. Heavy, blunt ends pull the hair downward, which pulls the eye downward, which drags the whole frame of your face down with it. And there's a second problem. Blunt ends emphasize the widest point of the hair's shape. After 50, when the face changes and softens, you want the widest, heaviest visual weight sitting higher, near the cheekbones. and temples, not sitting at the jaw or the shoulder. The fix is called point cutting or texturizing, and it's not a new style. It's just a finishing technique your stylist may have stopped doing, or that you've never specifically asked for. Point cutting means using the shears vertically into the ends of the hair rather than cutting straight across. The result is that the ends become softer and slightly irregular rather than landing in one unbroken line. The hair still has length. The shape doesn't change dramatically, but the ends feather instead of drop, and that small difference changes everything about where the eye lands. Ask your stylist specifically for this at your next appointment. You don't need to rebook a full cut. This is a 10-minute finish to whatever cut you already have. Say, I'd like point cutting through the ends to soften the line and add movement. That's it. Most stylists who work with mature hair will know immediately what you mean and why you're asking. What shifts when you do this is the way the hair reads in relation to your face. When the ends are feathered and soft, the eye stops at the cheekbone and temple area, the widest, fullest part of the silhouette, rather than traveling all the way down to the jaw. The jaw looks slimmer. The cheekbones read higher. The overall impression is lighter, younger, less heavy. There's also a color dimension to this that women rarely think about. When ends are blunt and heavy, the density of the ends traps light and reads as darker, even if the rest of the hair is beautifully light or highlighted. Point cut ends open up the structure of the hair, so light moves through them. Even without changing your color at all, softer ends will appear lighter and more luminous in natural light. That's not a styling trick. That's just how light physically interacts with hair density. I've seen women add highlights, switch toners, try 3 different glosses, spending hundreds of dollars trying to make their hair look lighter, when what they actually needed was their stylist to spend 10 minutes going vertical through the ends. The highlight wasn't the problem. The blunt line was. The swap is specific and clear. A blunt, unbroken line at the ends that pulls everything downward, softly point cut ends that feather, catch light, and let the eye rest higher on the face. The next one is going to feel uncomfortable because it involves something a lot of women have been told is aging when actually the opposite is true. And most stylists are still getting it wrong. Part 3. Too tight curls or overset waves. There's a myth that's been circulating in beauty spaces for at least 20 years, and it goes like this. After 50, you need a tighter, more controlled style because loose hair looks unkempt. That is wrong in a way that's actually measurable. The tighter and more uniformly styled a curl or wave pattern is, the more it signals effort. And effort, paradoxically, reads as older, not younger. The most ageless hairstyles across every decade of research into how humans perceive attractiveness and youthfulness have one visual quality in common. They look effortless. Soft. Like the hair did it mostly on its own. Tight, uniform curls compress the silhouette. They make the hair sit close to the head, which eliminates the crown volume we just talked about. They remove all the lightness and movement that makes a hairstyle feel modern. And because they require a lot of product and a lot of heat to achieve and hold, they tend to leave the hair looking slightly stiff, even shiny in a way that reads as product heavy rather than healthy. None of that is doing you any favors. The fix here is about loosening the approach at every stage. If you're using rollers, go up one size. Larger rollers create a wave rather than a curl, and a wave is visually softer, lighter, and more current than a curl that sits in a tight ring against the scalp. If you're using a curling iron, wrap larger sections around the barrel rather than small ones, and instead of holding the curl closed as it sets, let it drop freely and use just your fingers to gently encourage its shape. If you're diffusing natural texture, resist the urge to touch and define each curl individually. Diffuse in large sections and let the curls clump loosely together. The result is a hairstyle that reads as genuinely current rather than done. And there's a real difference between those two things that women pick up on intuitively even when they can't articulate it. A done hairstyle signals that you spent significant effort and then locked everything in place. A current hairstyle signals ease. It moves. It breathes. It changes slightly as the day goes on, and that's by design, not accident. The other change to make alongside this: stop finishing with a stiff hold. Hairspray. Swap it for a flexible hold product, a light mist spray or a soft cream that holds the shape without freezing it. Your hair will move. When you turn your head, it'll shift slightly in a breeze. And that movement is exactly what reads as younger, lighter, and more alive, because it is. Hair that moves looks healthy. Hair that stays exactly where you put it looks like it's been lacquered, and lacquered hair, regardless of the style, always reads as older. The specific swap: tight, uniform curls set close to the head with stiff hold, loose, relaxed waves with natural variation, free movement, and a flexible hold finish. What's coming next is the one I get the most messages about, and it's the mistake that surprises women the most when they finally see it. Part 4. The middle part after 50. The middle part has a very specific visual effect on the face that most women never hear explained clearly. It creates perfect bilateral symmetry, and perfect bilateral symmetry is not actually what makes a face look its best. This is one of those things that sounds counterintuitive right up until the moment you see it side by side, and then it's completely obvious. A precise center part divides the face into two equal halves and draws the eye along a perfectly straight vertical line from forehead to chin. After 50, when softness has entered the jaw and the face has changed in subtle ways over decades, that straight line and that perfect symmetry pull focus directly to the places where those changes are most visible. There's also a volume problem built into the center part. When hair is divided precisely down the middle, the sections pull away from the crown in both directions. The result is that the top of the head goes flat, back to the crown problem from part 1, but this time it's being created structurally by the part itself, not just the styling. You can diffuse all you want and do every root lifting trick available, and a hard center part will keep flattening the crown because the hair is being asked to travel outward from the center, rather than upward from the root. The alternative isn't a dramatic side part from ear to crown. That style has its own set of problems and sits heavily on one side of the face in a way that can look unbalanced rather than youthful. What works for most women over 50 is what stylists call a soft off-center part, shifted about an inch to one side of center, so there's no perfect symmetry, but no exaggerated sweep either. The hair still falls naturally on both sides. The difference is subtle enough that it doesn't read as a statement, but it's significant enough that the crown lifts immediately because the hair is no longer being pulled evenly in both directions. The way to find your soft off-center part is simple. Starting with damp hair, place a fine-tooth comb at your natural hairline roughly 1 inch to the left or right of center, whichever side you naturally tend to push your hair toward. Draw a line back toward the crown, but let it curve very slightly, rather than going perfectly straight. A slightly curved part breaks the hard geometry of a center part without creating the exaggerated arch of a deep side part. Let the hair fall where it wants from there, and then dry it with root lift applied to the crown section as in part 1. What you'll notice almost immediately is that the face looks more dimensional. This is real, not imagined. When perfect symmetry is interrupted, the eye moves around the face rather than traveling down a vertical line. It picks up the cheekbone, the eye, the temple. It reads the face as having more structure. The jaw, by contrast, becomes less prominent because the eye is engaged elsewhere. That's the result you're after, and it comes from moving apart 1 inch off center. The specific swap: a hard center part that creates flat crown and perfect symmetry pulling focus to jaw changes a soft off-center part curved slightly toward the crown, lifting the roots and creating dimensional facial framing. You now know exactly what's been quietly working against you: a flat crown, pulling the eye downward, heavy ends dragging the whole frame, tight curls, trading movement for age, and a center part flattening everything it touches. And you have the specific fix for each one. That's not a vague refresh your look piece of advice. That's 4 precise, actionable changes you can bring to your next salon appointment or apply tomorrow morning. Here's what I want you to tell me in the comments. Which one of these was your hairstyle? The flat crown, the blunt ends, the overset curls, or the center part? I genuinely want to know. Next week, I'm covering the exact skincare ingredients that work differently on mature skin, and a few that most women over 50 are still using that are doing the opposite of what they think. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.